everybody, welcome to Humble House. I hope you're well. We are going to be making this baby bonnet for the cold months. Not that it gets very cold here, but in other places it does. This is for a size of about 6 to 12 months. Let me tell you what you need to get started. Yarn, I bought this from Lion brand and it is 78% acrylic and 22% wool. The recommended hook size is 6.5 millimeters. I will be using a 6 millimeter. By the way, the color is cream taupe in case you want to use the same one. You will also need scissors, a yarn needle, and stitch markers. To start, we need to create a magic ring. You form a loop. This part has to be in the back. And hold it with your middle finger and your thumb, or your index finger and your thumb. It doesn't matter, either one, whatever is most comfortable. Then insert your hook into the center, pull this yarn through that loop and sort of twist it at the same time, and now you chain 2, 1 and 2. This is your magic ring. This chain of 2 does not count. Now we want to do 12 double crochets into this ring. The way you do a double crochet is you yarn over first, then you insert the hook into the ring, you yarn over again, you pull up a loop. That will leave you with 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and you pull it through the first 2 loops, like so, and then through the next 2 loops. That was your first double crochet, and this is where you want to add your stitch marker. The very top, through those 2 loops, that's where you add your stitch marker. Now we need 11 more of those double crochets. You yarn over into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. That's your second double crochet. Like I said, you need 12 double crochets into the ring. After those 12 double crochets, you will pull on this string at this end to close off the ring. Now it forms a circle. To join these 2, we will do a double crochet into this stitch where the stitch marker is. So yarn over, insert your hook through both of those loops, remove the stitch marker, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. And we want to add our stitch marker back here. Into this same stitch, you will do a double crochet. There you have 2 double crochets. Now you move on to the next stitch and you do again 2 double crochets into that same stitch. For this round, which is round number 2, we will be doing 2 double crochets into every stitch, which means you will be doing an increase into every stitch. So an increase is 2 stitches into 1 stitch. At the end of this round, you will have 24 double crochets. Here are my 24 double crochet stitches, and I'm back at my stitch marker. We will once again join with a double crochet into that stitch. Take this out and finish that double crochet. Add your stitch marker right here and repeat another double crochet into that same stitch. Let's move on to this next stitch. You will only do 1 double crochet. Into the next one, we will do an increase, so 2 double crochets into the same stitch. One double crochet into this next stitch, then an increase into the next stitch, then 1 double crochet, then an increase, all the way until you get to your stitch marker, and you should have a total of 36 double crochet stitches. This is what it looks like, 36 double crochet stitches. Now we join again with a double crochet for round number 4 into that stitch with the stitch marker, and add your stitch marker again. Now we will do another double crochet into that same stitch. Then into the next 2 stitches, you will only do 1 double crochet into each stitch. Then you do an increase into that next one. Into the next 2 stitches, only 1 double crochet into each stitch. So our pattern for round 4 will be 2 double crochets into the same stitch, so 1 increase, and then 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches. Then repeat an increase, then 2 double crochets each into the next 2 stitches. At the end of this round, you will have 48 double crochets. Here we go, 48 double crochet stitches. I will join the 2 ends with a slip stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that same loop, pull it through the one that was on your hook. Now chain 1, and into the same stitch, make a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Add your stitch marker. Now we will count backwards. You're going to skip. So this is that half double crochet we just did, the chain and the slip stitch. You're going to skip. So what looks like three sets of 2 loops, and then you will start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th one, you will insert your stitch marker. I know this one looks like it's the first stitch, but that's not the one you want to count. You want to skip this next stitch, then into that second stitch basically. We will do a single crochet. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Then we will do a half double crochet, so yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and once again into the same stitch, a double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Now we want to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into this 3rd one we will repeat 1 single crochet, that 1 half double crochet, and 1 double crochet. Again, skip 2, 1, 2, and into this 3rd one, 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet into that same stitch, and 1 double crochet into that same stitch. Then you skip 2 again, and we repeat the same pattern. I will meet you by the stitch marker. Now I've reached the stitch right before the stitch marker, and I did that repetition of single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. This is the stitch that we want to skip. So remember here where we started, we have the half double crochet and then we skipped 1 stitch. So we're going to do the same on this side. Take out your stitch marker, skip that stitch, and into the next one you will do a half double crochet. Now turn your work, chain 1, and into this stitch you will do a half double crochet again. Add your stitch marker. Into the following stitch we're going to do 2 double crochets together. You yarn over and insert your hook into that next stitch after the half double crochet. Then you yarn over and pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. But instead of finishing this double crochet, we will start a new one. So yarn over, go into the same stitch, then yarn over, pull up a loop. You will be left with 4 loops. Then again, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. And now that we have 3 loops left, this is where we finish those 2 off. Like that. Let me show it to you again. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, there's 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Now instead of finishing, you yarn over again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, you're left with 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 3. Then into the next stitch, do the same. This is what we will do all the way until right before you get to your stitch marker. I will meet you here. I am almost at the stitch marker. You do the last cluster of double crochets, all the 2 double crochets together. Now we will do a half double crochet into that stitch with the stitch marker. Turn your work, chain 1, and a half double crochet into that same stitch. Add your stitch marker. Now you're gonna have, obviously these are the spaces in between, so each stitch is basically a space in between the 2 double crochets that we did together. We are going to repeat the same steps, going into this space. See it? So here's your half double crochet, going into this space through both loops. Start again with the double crochet, don't finish it, and add another one. Oops. Like that. So that was your first set of 2 double crochets together. Go all the way around until you reach your stitch marker, and there we will do a half double crochet again. So you always start and you always end with a half double crochet. Now we go back again, doing the same thing, After we did that half double crochet, you do the 2 double crochet 2 together into each of these spaces. This is basically round 3 of this type of stitch. So we did the first one, second one, this is the third. You will do 7 rows of this same pattern. Now I am done with that 7th row, and we are not going to do any type of extra border around this front part. We are simply going to do the ties now, and then crochet along this back, the part that goes on the back of the head, and do that second tie. After your last half double crochet, chain 40. We will now go back up this chain, but instead of going into these loops right here as you normally would, we are going to turn the chain. Do you see these bag loops? That is where you want to insert your hook a little bit hard and do your single crochet. Again, over here, this back loop, and do your single crochet until you get back to the top of this chain. Here I am back at the top of the chain, and we are going to switch to double crochet stitches. Now we need to find spaces in between these stitches to go all the way to the other side. Now try to insert where you know you have at least 2 loops so that it doesn't look as if it is pulled. That has a little bit of support. You see, like that. So I went in there. Now I will go through this stitch, do a double crochet, then here. It's the little border for the neck. And I will meet you once you reach that other side. There's the back of the bonnet. That's that row that we just did of double crochets. We want to chain 40 again for that other tie. And just like we did on the other side, you want to come back, twist your chain, and single crochet into those back loops. I am back up here, and remember that stitch where we had the stitch marker? Slip stitch in there to finish this off. Now cut off your yarn, pull this through, so yarn over and then pull it through the loop, pull tightly on it. Now take your yarn needle, and through the inside of the bonnet you will thread in the yarn, and a couple more times. Now go back, and then go back again, cut off the rest. We're going to do the same with the back. Now that you've threaded everything in and the bonnet looks basically finished, we will add the brim. We need the stitch markers again. You need to fold the bonnet in half and then make sure that these 2 sides align. You see, right here. And you count on each side. So 1, 2, and on the third one, you will add a stitch marker to each side so that you remember where we need to stop. So take the yarn again, insert your hook through that first stitch, make a little loop, pull it through, and chain 1. Into the same stitch, we will do a single crochet, and we will go all the way around till we get to the other stitch marker with single crochets. I am now here at the stitch marker. Do that last single crochet. Take out your stitch marker, chain 1 and turn your work. Now we will single crochet 2 together, insert your hook into the same stitch, and then start the single crochet but don't finish it off, and go into the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Basically all this is a decrease. You add your stitch marker. Into the next 6 stitches, you will do single crochets. Now we do an increase. The way you do an increase is you do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And then again, 6 single crochets. And then you do an increase. Repeat this pattern, and then at the end, when we get to stitch marker, you leave the last 2 before the stitch marker so we can do another decrease. Here are my last 2 stitches. I will again do 2 single crochets together. So you insert into the first one, pull up a loop, and then you insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then you pull through all 3 loops. You can take out the stitch marker here, chain 1 and turn. Then again, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and go into the one right next to it, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Add your stitch marker, and now single crochet all the way back without any increases. Now remember the last 2 before you approach the end of this row. You will do 2 single crochets together. So basically the decrease, then chain 1, turn, and again a decrease, and then back we go with no increases. Do your decrease, take out the stitch marker, chain 1 and turn. Again, do your decrease, add your stitch marker. Now count 7, do 7 single crochets. Now comes an increase. And it doesn't matter if you don't have the exact number, like let's say you have your increase over here when you're about to end and you don't have 7 stitches left, that's fine. It doesn't matter. So like here, I did 7 single crochets, and now I would normally do an increase, but this is where I'm doing the decrease because I am at the end of this round. Now chain 1, turn your work, and again do that decrease. For the next 2 rounds, no increases. Now after those 2 rows, chain 1, turn, and again do your decrease. Now single crochet for the next 8 stitches. After that row of increases, only do 1 more row with no increases, and I will meet you when you're done with that. Now we are done. You did that last decrease, and we will cut off our yarn here, tie it off, and thread it in like I showed you. I'll take your yarn and then insert your hook. We will start over here and add our yarn with a chain, and then do a single crochet into that same stitch. Now find the spaces along this border to do single crochets. You want it to look as even as possible, so try to go into the same spaces each time. There I am. right before you get to those ties, well, the double crochet and on the ties, turn your work. Now chain 1. We will skip this first stitch. Then into the next stitch, you will do the same as we did down here. 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, and 1 double crochet. Then skip 2, and again, 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, and 1 double crochet. So we're simply giving it a little feminine border. Skip 2. As you can see, I don't have an equal amount of stitches so that I could skip 1 and end before I get to these double crochets that we did down here. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is just skip this little part, insert my hook through here, and finish with a slip stitch. Then cut this off, tie it off, and thread these loose ends in. We are done with the bonnet. That's what it looks like from the side. This will keep your little ones warm and cozy in the winter. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. Please subscribe so you get the newest videos. Also, follow me on Instagram at HumbleHus. I had a lot of fun making this like I always do. I would love to see your projects, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. This is HumbleHus. Bye.